Welcome everybody to Arc'teryx Footwear Fall 24. We're excited to take a tour through what's coming out this season, maybe even a sneak peek at what we might see later this season. And to do that, we've brought in Aaron Long from Portland, Oregon, the footwear capital of the US, maybe even North America, if I dare say. Aaron, how are you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Marshall, and thanks everybody for hopping on this call. I know it's your afternoon or your evening for some of y'all folks on the East Coast. So I really appreciate you spending this next 45 minutes to an hour with Marshall and I. We're here for you guys, so please ask questions, be a part of the conversation, hop off mute, and just interrupt us if you need to. This is very conversational. It's unscripted. We've got a lot of footwear to cover, but like Marshall said, if there's other off-topic questions, we'll see if we can get towards the end. But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be here. The Gore Experience More Tour is my favorite clinic series throughout the year. I think they do an excellent job getting really deep value insights into the industry, as well as all of the vendors that utilize Gore-Tex. And I love speaking with Marshall. We've worked together for
Yeah.
a very long
Uh,
time now.
Six,
So
7, 8 years. I'm not sure. Yeah,
yeah,
it's been a while.
quite a while. And yeah, I'm stoked. I've been with Arc'teryx for 10 years now. So I've worked in a lot of different parts of the business, but right now I focus on product education and I specialize in product training for all of our North America wholesale partners. So, those big key and national accounts throughout Canada and US, all of the product education is coming through me or coming, with support from me. So I'm here for you guys. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're stoked.
Let's get into it, Aaron. Right, you're based in Portland, Oregon, right? And so all that knowledge you bring to from your 10 years at Arc'teryx, you get to also now kind of wrap yourself even closer to footwear, and that's because Arc'teryx has now a footwear center in Portland. What's the purpose of bringing a footwear center to Portland, Oregon, and what is Arc'teryx hoping to accomplish by developing this specific footwear center?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Portland, Oregon is footwear USA, or I mean, it's the capital. It is home base for footwear for it's been like that for a long time now, but there's so much talent, so much development, so much design influence that comes out of Portland, Oregon. And it really signifies, like I'd say, the third chapter with Arc'teryx's footwear launch. And we're decoupled completely from Amammer Sports. We are separated from Solomon Footwear, and this is our footwear DNA through and through. And so we have a team of maybe 20 to 25 people that work through that office that's just down the street from me. And it kind of signifies a new, like, Arc'teryx focused, athlete influenced design that really helps us leverage and grow the footwear brand and make it Arc'teryx's identity through and through.
Yeah, so what does that mean, athlete-driven design? Like run me through an example of kind of how that would present itself in a shoe.
Yeah, I mean, the state of sports these days is escalated so dramatically and so quickly. Earlier in the day, we were talking about the UTMB, and that's just one example of how fast sports have been propelling. So, those, missions that used to take 2 days are now done in a half a day. The climbs that used to be, 5:10 used to be the max back when I was climbing, and now it's 5:15. And it's like the way that these sports are escalating and elevating, it's moving faster than footwear or our footwear or most of the footwear in the industry can even keep up with it. So we're deciding to find out, like, this technical pinpoint that is really athlete inspired, to find these new categories, these niche categories where we can be the most technical kind of footwear out on the market to really push into that next threshold.
So your athletes are out there pushing the boundaries, right? And maybe they're not finding exactly what they need on their feet. So how does that affect your design, right? What's going into that, right? Are you saying, great, well, we've got this suite of running shoes. Why don't you pick one of these? Maybe this will work for you, or what does that look
Yeah,
like
not
for
necessarily. We're taking like a specific athlete or an objective, and those, are a terrain choice. And that like objective muse is where we start with every single style. So we would say, hey, we want a long distance trail running shoe for the Baden Powell Trail. And that trail is a 50 kilometer. It's kind of runs through the roots, through the rocks. It's fairly moderate in gain. And so we'd come up with that Norvan shoe. And, we really pinpoint a specific objective or a specific athlete, and we design for that very, very hyper-focused aspect of it.
So who do we have here on the screen? And what is her sort of mountain muse or her athletic muse that
Yeah,
tends to
this
do?
is a absolute crusher, Janelle Smiley. She, was living in the Tetons area, but now she's based out of Squamish. She's known as she's an all-arounder, honestly, but she's wearing the GORE-TEX Alpine shoe, which is our new approach shoe, and she's really pushing scrambling or pushing this like alpine climbing, alpine mountaineering. She's on terrain, Marshall, that you and I would probably be roped up and gripped on, but she's kind of moving quickly through this terrain. And this idea of the GORE-TEX Alpine came from mountain guides that's, typically when they're guiding, when they're working, when they are leading up clients, they can wear just about any footwear that they'd want to. Typically, they're ended up wearing, trail running shoes. But when they go out on their own objectives and they're pushing their limits, the trail running shoes fall a little bit. So, they're not quite as stable. They don't have quite as much edging. They're not as sticky a rubber. They're not as supportive, et cetera. And so, taking the shoes that they would typically wear, but really extending it so that they can push the boundaries a little bit and climb harder, climb more safely, more confidently.
Right. So those routes that involve maybe a 5-10 mile run into the base, long ridge, maybe getting up to 5.8, 5.9, but they're probably free soloing these, and then that long descent and run back to the car done in a day kind of a sense, right? So you want something that runs well and something that's going to really excel when you're getting up there in the alpine and pushing that fifth class terrain.
Exactly. This is like a perfect example of like how niche Arc'teryx is willing to go with our footwear design, and like that athlete, like unapologetically athlete inspired
Right.
footwear.
So the GORE-TEX Alpine came to be. So we have a little video on it, and this is introduced by another one of your athletes, Adam. So who is Adam?
Yeah, Adam Campbell is one of our athletes. He's been a Arc'teryx athlete for a very long time. Absolute crusher, long distance trail runner, very fast runner. He dabbles in some climb as well. I would consider him a friend of mine now. I've known him for probably 7 years, and he is now on our athlete insights and product testing team. So we're taking the athletes and we're having them be a part of the team to develop this next kind of generation of footwear.
Awesome. Well, Ben, if you don't mind rolling this video as this thing kind of cues up, right? Again, introduced here by Adam Campbell, who is very, very qualified to introduce this shoe since he is one of your athletes. And again, also working now in the design team, which is very cool to kind of cross that.
The GORE-TEX
those
Alpine
paths.
is a shoe that I'm really, really excited about. This is the DNA of Arc'teryx. So the original GORE-TEX was a running shoe that was inspired by climbers. This version of it is an approach shoe that's been inspired by runners. So the real inspiration for the shoe came from athletes like Eric Carter and Mike Gardner. Eric Carter is one of our trail runners. Mike Gardner is a cutting-edge alpinist on our athlete team. And last year, Eric did a traverse of the Tantalus Range, which is a local range in the Coast Mountains of British Columbia. It's a 40-kilometer traverse with over 5,000 meters of vertical gain. And in this traverse, you're crossing glaciated peaks as well as climbing up fifth-class terrain. And he did it in just under 8 hours, or just under 9 hours, I believe. Whereas up until a decade ago, nobody had yet done it under 24 hours. So this is the progression of shoe that we're working towards. And I can tell you a little personal anecdote about this shoe. Last year I was climbing with one of our climb athletes, Sam Hennessy. I'm a runner who I like to dabble in climbing, but I'm not a great climber. And we were doing this little trad route, and I was putting the rope up, and it's a tendy, and I was trying to show off to the climber. And halfway up, I got scared, as happens, and I bailed. And embarrassingly, Sam had actually forgotten his climbing shoes, and so he climbed the route in these shoes and got us to the top of the route, which was embarrassing for me, but it was awesome, and it really showed the potential of this shoe. So that was pretty cool. So what makes this shoe so special? Well, one, it's the lightest weight possible material, and it has the best climbing ability of any approach shoe on the market at the moment. How does that work? So first, through fit. We have this integrated sock liner, and with that, it means that it'll keep debris out of the shoe. We also have this shoelace garage, and this shoelace garage is where you can tuck your shoelaces away so that they're not dangling when you're climbing, which can be pretty fatal for a climber. On top of that, we have this matrix upper. And it also comes in a GORE-TEX package for those days when you might get caught out in the rain, or if you're having to cross a glacier when approaching your climb. And then for the ride, we have this excess flash grip. And this is what's really exciting. This is the first time that Vibram has ever used this rubber on an approach shoe. And to add to that, we have this little climbing zone, which means it has excellent smearing ability. And then the tooling of the shoe means that it also edges really, really well. So if you're edging or approaching up big slabs, this shoe's a really, really good climbing tool. And then on top of that, we also have a rock plate in here for protection. And that means that if you're having to approach through boulder fields or through a scree field, that you're safe from those little sharp pointy bits that might dab you in the foot, that might impact your day. So all in all, this is the best lightweight climbing shoe on the market as an approach shoe.
A lot that he's talking about there in this shoe, right? A lot of features added into here for going on, big things like Adam's doing, like your athletes are doing, like Janelle. For normal person like myself, I'll get up, do long runs, and I might scramble 4th class, maybe low 5th class up in the mountains. And I've been doing that in my Norvan LD3s, which I quite like, having a good rubber. But there are times when I'm like, whoa, I wish I had a slightly stickier rubber. That outsole really does resonate with me. Aaron,
Yeah.
what is special here about this outsole?
Yeah, I mean, Vibram XS Flash has been around for a few years, but it's been only in climbing shoes. So we are the first footwear brand to bring it into an approach shoe. It's a pretty special rubber. It is obviously super sticky, super gummy, great traction, but it is the softest, grippiest rubber that's available from Vibram that allows us to actually put into a mold so we can make a tread pattern on it. Any softer rubbers comes out in a sheet that's applied to the last of a climbing shoe, which is not going to lend itself very well to an approach shoe that you could potentially go running in. So this shoe involves that Flash XS to Vibram, and it's a light-based technology, so it's a very, very thin outsole. It's a colorable outsole, which is pretty unique, and it gives you great support, great traction. It has a climbing tread or a climbing pattern like up on that toe, a nice 90-degree sole there, so it gives you good edging, and it's really, like Adam said, it's going to offer great climbing ability, but it's a technical approach shoe where you can go long distances and move quickly in.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have not yet tried these, but it does intrigue, right? Having a little that sort of technical fit, the down to the toe lacing, so I can, when I get into that technical terrain, cinch it up and feel a little more confident as I get onto those rocks, either for slab climbing or edging. And then, of course, I just noticed the tone on tone, the orange on the orange, or whatever colorways they may be, since you can colorize this, right? That is a cool thing, right? It really makes you like
very Arc'teryx, very
yeah,
color, not a lot of like fake technology onto it. Yeah, that's very Arc'teryx design, and we want it to like stand out from everything else on the wall, so that you look at it and you know that it's from our brand.
Yeah, and I think as we browse through these shoes that we're looking at this evening, we're just going to see even more of that, right? There's just an aesthetic that stands out, and it really helps to differentiate some of these products. So that's the Vertex Alpine GORE-TEX, right? And what this has in it is our invisible fit technology. What we want to make sure is that if you have a non-Gore version and you have a Gore version, so you can choose which one you want to use on whatever day, whatever weather conditions you think you're going to hit, or if you're going to be in snow, maybe you'll select the GORE-TEX version. We want it to fit the same. And so we developed this invisible fit technology to directly bond our EPE PFAS-free membrane to the face fabric, the outside of the shoe. And then we bond a backer material, which you can see here, looks a little bit gray. All the layers are pushed together in the lasting machine. And what you end up with is a sort of what feels like a single layer on your feet. It truly, you cannot feel the difference of a non-Gore version versus a Gore version from a fit perspective. But when you get into those wet ground conditions, boy, does it make a difference to have that in there. Another cool thing that Invisible Fit allows that heel treatment on the inside of the shoe that can be customized. Traditional booty technology, you can't really do that on the next to sock layer, but here you can. And you can see here what Arc has done. It's quite unique in their treatment by, rather than a whole drop liner, they're bonding in directly their heel pocket. Aaron, tell me a little bit about heel pocket and sort of Arc's approach to the heel pockets here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like something like a little bit of a detail that kind of, some brands aren't really super focused on it, but I've really seen like a dedication to that footwear pocket or that footwear heel. And like you said, it gives us the ability to like directly bond to it. So we can make a really tight heel and an upper that closes the foot where we can kind of pull it back. So it's not flopping around, it's not slipping in your shoe, and you get that really good controlled fit into it. And on the Vertex and even on the Norvan, like you can look at the heel construction, and that heel cup is you can see that there's quite a bit of thought that goes into that. And that's something that like directly like invisible fit allows us to sculpt that heel out, to add that extra padding, to make it a really tight pronounced heel again, so you have precision, so you're not going to slip around in it. Your foot's going to sit back into that footwear where your toes are going to be not mashing up against the toe box.
Right, really kind of get locking you in back there, and then through the vamp of the shoe holding you in. That is not a screw, Craig. I know you're asking that. That is kind of in the heel zone there. I think that's just an air pocket that maybe is either a relic from the EVA, or I don't know, maybe sometimes there is purposeful air pockets put into the heel zone to give you a little more air cushioning back there, but it does look like a screw. Yeah, right. Well, cool. That is GORE-TEX Invisible Fit integrated into the Vertex Alpine shoe. So very technical shoe, unapologetically for these like athlete specific pursuits. Maybe a normal people like myself will be able to also benefit from that. But what is Arc'teryx's version of hike?
Yeah, out in British Columbia, basically, where you've got technical peaks, long distance, long trails, and what we were finding was folks that like the Arius was, our best selling hiking boot, and we were finding that a lot of folks were maybe opting out of the Arios, and then they were just going even lighter and doing their fast and light backpacking in the Norvan shoe, which is a trail running shoe. And so it felt like most of those customers were not really going towards a really lightweight hiking shoe, but they were going into a running shoe. So we wanted to have something that was more robust, more supportive, more durable than the Arios for those folks who maybe are not comfortable wearing a running shoe. Maybe they're wearing some, a backpack, and they need some extra structure, some extra, extra support. Maybe they're, need more durability. They need the support in the ankles. And so this shoe, the Kopec Low and the Kopec Mid, is kind of that new solution, or it fills that gap between our Arios shoe and our Acrux LT boot.
Right, a cool niche to fill in here. I do think this shoe is going to have very broad appeal, but again, it is inspired by athletes. And we do have a video here. So this video features two folks that work at the Arc Design Center, Ian and Kat. What can you tell me about these two folks?
Yeah. I mean, Ian is a prodigy, essentially. He's been with the business for probably about as long as I have, maybe even longer. He was on the color team. He coordinated the color for Arc'teryx for a very long time, and he is entrenched with all things design, and he leads product education. And then Kat Drew is another one of our athletes. She's an absolute crusher, super fast trail runner. And she has also been hired onto our footwear team. So she's on Athlete Insights and prototype team. So they both very, very well knowledged in this stuff.
Well, let's listen to them discussing this this new shoe, the Kopec.
For this shoe, people are aiming more for something that's fast and light, and it has to be comfortable while instilling confidence in the athlete to be able to move as quickly as possible.
I am here today with Kat to talk about the new Kopec. Kat, tell me a little bit about what we offer for hiking.
For very technical mountain terrain, we have our mountain boots, a very burly hiking boot, the Acrux TR, and then we also have the Arios, which is a very lightweight hiking shoe for day hikes. And then we needed a shoe for the middle, which brings us to the Kopec.
Tell me about how we get to fast and light with the Kopec.
So all footwear design starts with an objective muse and a problem to solve for. The objective is the Howe Sound Crest Trail, which is a 28-kilometer trail on the coastal mountains, and we wanted to design a shoe that would be the best shoe for that trail. And the problem to solve, like you said, is something that's fast and light. So how to maximize efficiency, performance, and comfort for your objective.
Perfect. Tell me about fit, ride, and protection and how it pertains to the Kopec.
So for the first one, fit, comfort is key in a shoe like this. You're going to be carrying a lightweight pack, maybe 20 to 30 liters. You have a cushioned underfoot. You have a nice roomy toe box to accommodate for feet swelling, and a nice padded outer, so it will protect you from any abrasion.
Amazing. And how about ride?
Well, it's very lightweight boot. It's under 380 grams, which is very lightweight for a hiking boot. You'll be nice and stable going up and down rocky mountainous terrain, and it has really good grip and traction. So good on muddy surfaces, rocks, roots, all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And the last one, protection.
So has a very durable upper. You can see it's really thick, can withstand abrasion. The toe box is covered if and when you stub your toe. And then it's also GORE-TEX, protecting you from the wet elements, also keeps you nice and warm. And there's ankle support. So very protective boot, despite it being very lightweight.
Can you tell me exactly what must you know about the Kopec?
It's comfortable for long days on feet, lightweight and stable, and it's protective and durable.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was pretty smooth.
That was good.
So many different features. We have a question here around width. And so Aaron, if you know those, you can fire those out at us.
Yeah, this is going to be the widest toe box that we have to offer. You can see there's plenty of room to splay, plenty of room for your feet to swell, and, you know, long days on the trail. It's going to cover you. As far as like the letters of width, I'm gonna have to say I'm stumped on that. I don't quite know. What I will say is fit is very subjective, and fit has to do with more than just the last. It's a super complex topic. The more I learn about the width, the less I know, and the less I can compare to alternative brands, because everybody's sizing runs a little bit different. Everybody's lasting and everybody's like overall construction is different. I would say that I'm doubting that these are running into a men's D. I'm imagining it was probably a men's C, and then probably a women's standard B, but quite a bit of toe splay on that. I don't know 100%, but
Cool.
As far as fit, the best thing you can do is try them on. You're never going to know if this shoe is going to work for you unless you try them on. The heel may not work for you. The heel may be absolutely awesome for your shoe, but the best thing you can do is put them on your feet, put them on your customers' feet, and that's what's going to tell you whether or not they're going to fit you.
Well, it looks like a shoe I want to try on. Just the aesthetic of it is just gorgeous, right?
Oh
like,
yeah, they're super clean. I mean, we got really fun colors with them this season. You've
Yeah,
also got like pretty basic colors, a Cordura nylon, really durable, you know, light base technology, even in a lightweight shoe, which is, if you all aren't familiar with light base, it's a pretty cool application of Vibram. What they do is they actually cut down the base of the outsole by 50%. So they make that outsole thinner. They don't reduce the tread patterning at all. So you still have the same grip and traction and capability underfoot, but by cutting down that base of the outsole, they reduce the weight by 30%. So you get a much lighter, much closer to ground kind of feel with no sacrifice in durability. And we launched this within trail running shoes in our Norvin SL, which is a very super light shoe. I just think it's notable to see that even get introduced into the Kopec, and that's how we can really drop the weight. You know, we know that a lot of folks are using lightweight trail runner shoes as a fast and light hiker, and so we wanted to drop the weight as much as possible on this shoe while still maintaining the durability, the comfort aspect, the longevity of a hiker.
Yeah, and so when did these drop for us all to be able to sell, and how broad is this distribution?
These just dropped, like, I mean, maybe a week or two ago. They're brand spanking new. I just got my demo in the mail, and fairly broad distribution. I know that most of like the national and key accounts are selling them in, and you know, if your specific wholesale account is not getting them in, it's definitely one that I think is going to be that volume driver. It's going to introduce a lot of people to Arc'teryx with that wider toe box. It already is like going to be more democratic than a lot of our like really precision foot shoes. And yeah, just a bomber construction. It should last a real long time for you.
So bomber materials being used in this, that solid TPU upper, the light base sole does not sacrifice durability. So I think you can expect a lot of years of use out of this by using these premium materials in this, right? We're getting a couple questions around longevity and
Yeah, and everybody wants a number, like you want to tell like how many miles, but that's just not a realistic like threshold for most people. Everybody weighs different. You're gonna have different weights on your backpack. For a mountain guide, they may last a fraction of the time for a average weekend warrior. But we are known as making some of the most durable, most long-lasting product, and our footwear is no different than that. I've had a pair of Conceal FLs for probably 3 years now, and they are no worse for wear. Like the laces are starting to get a little tired, but the rest of the shoe is rock solid. So I would imagine like with this construction and with that like canvas upper and the EVA polyolefin midsole, like you're gonna have these shoes for, 400 or 500 miles easy.
easy.
So
Yeah. So hopefully that answers y'all's question on that. I think we can feel pretty confident that these are going to last a long time. So available in both the mid and the low. So another shoe that we should consider, or another category, is trail running, right? This is the fastest growing category in the outdoor industry, and more folks are picking up trail running and various pursuits, right? I plug along slowly on my trail. I go distance, but I go slow and keep moving. Now here you have an athlete who is not going slow. There's no way I could do that. Tell us a little bit about this category and how your new entry is inspired by athletes.
Yeah, so the objective means here is downhill running or fast running or race essentially. So when you've got a technical downhill or when you're moving fast, Emma Cook Clark is the athlete in this picture, and she has been on the podium of many sky racing races throughout the world, and you can see she's just flying. She's in midair right now, and so if you're looking for a trail running shoe that's going to propel you, help you move fast, help you run downhill, that Cylan shoe, which is the next shoe we're going to discuss, is going to be that shoe for you.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's watch this little intro video on the Cylan, if you can. Ben, I don't mind teeing that up. This is a shoe I've had the pleasure of taking out a little bit, and both the Gore and the non-Gore version, and have really appreciated the way this thing feels, although I don't use it for what it's intended for by any means.
Yeah, it's a great shoe. It's very unique.
The Cylan, this is a really cool shoe. You can tell it just looks like a fast shoe. It has this really obvious rocker shape to it, which really gets you up on your toes moving fast. And that was really intentional. This shoe came out of an athlete insight session with our run athletes in Chamonix, France at the Arc'teryx Alpine Academy, which is an annual event that Arc'teryx puts on in Chamonix, France. And what the athletes said in that meeting was that they wanted a shoe that they could, go out and set the fastest times up their local mountains or on their local trails. And so this is the shoe that came from that. And it has specific design intentions around it. Even though the shoe was not designed specifically as a racing shoe, it actually won the very first race it was ever used in, and has subsequently gone on the podium of many other international mountain races. So this shoe here is designed to run fast up and down really, really technical mountain terrain. It's called the Cylan. What's Cylan? Cylan is actually a mountain range in Norway, and it's the mountain range where two of our testers, Johanna and Henriette, tested the shoe, and they're two other athletes. So it's kind of a cool backstory about it. What makes this shoe special? For the fit of the shoe, we have this anti-debris collar. So the anti-debris collar is really important in mountain running, especially when you're trying to run really fast. It stops things like little pebbles or little twigs and things from getting in your shoe. If you're trying to run fast, last thing you want is a little pebble to get in your shoe. So this keeps that out. The next thing we have is this shoelace garage, and it's a cool little feature because it serves two purposes. One, it tucks your shoelaces away so the tips of your shoelaces aren't getting caught on branches or rocks as you're running past. But it also keeps the shoelaces from coming undone. So it's a really neat little feature. It tucks it away, keeps everything nice and tidy. For the fit of the shoe, we have this matrix upper. And the matrix upper is a really progressive material being used in the most high-end running shoes at the moment. It's really, really lightweight and super abrasion resistance. The shoe also comes in a GORE-TEX package for those rainy runs when some days you have to get out and run in the rain. And so this shoe, the GORE-TEX package, helps you do that. For the ride of the shoe, there's a few really cool features here. One, we have this dual density mid foam. It's really, really really squishy, but it also offers incredible ride and sort of rebound. So once again, it's really, really propulsive feeling shoe. It also has this like really pronounced rocker, so it really gets you up on your toes, which basically is how you run fast, which is what this shoe's all about. For the protection of the shoe, we have the Vibram Mega Grip Light Base Outer. So this is a really, really sticky rubber compound in a really, really lightweight package. So this is the lightest possible rubber, once again, trying to shave grams wherever we can in the shoe, with the stickiest rubber compound, so when you're sending those really, really steep rock faces, this shoe will stick really well to that. On top of that, we have these 6mm lugs, and those really allow you to give you confidence when you're running down steep downhills. Imagine bombing down a super steep downhill, just having the time of your life. This really digs into that ground, whether it's mud or a little loose dirt. Gives you a little bit more confidence on the downhill, because that's really where races are won or lost, and that's where like a lot of the fun happens. You suffer on the ups and you bomb it on the downhills. So that's what this shoe is all about, just running fast. It's a lightweight, really, really durable, incredibly comfortable, like, fast running machine. This will get you to your FKTs or personal records out there.
I had the pleasure of using the Sideline this past weekend. Not for this, I actually went backpacking with it because I had the shoe, let's just try it out. And on the steep descent coming down off a Cutthroat Pass, so I had a pretty heavy pack because I was going with the family, so I carried everything. The rocker really did just felt really nice on the downhill and kind of just kept me rolling down, and what otherwise I might have had to like kind of tiptoe down a bit. It was pretty great. We actually got up into some scrambling, and that Mega Grip outsole worked pretty well as well. And there's a real like third class training that we got into. Psyched on it for sure. And can you talk a little bit about the upper here in this shoe? It is kind of unique, this Matrix upper, and it does have some sustainability call outs in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Matrix, like Adam had mentioned, it's used in some of the most high-end trail running shoes on the market right now. We love it because it's incredibly lightweight, incredibly durable. It offers great breathability. And it's made from a polyurethane coated polyester that's 100% recycled fiber. So utilizing these recycled fibers helps drop down the carbon footprint of this shoe. But overall, the added durability and longevity maximizes the lifetime of this shoe, which obviously is the best thing that we can do is keep the shoe on your feet and out of the landfill. And so, yeah, this offers that great durability, a good fit. It helps cup your foot and really lock your forefoot in, and then gives you great breathability and in a lightweight package.
Yeah, I love the kind of ability to sort of not only use recycled polyester fibers in this, but also make a material that is just absolutely durable, right? So they'll last the long haul, because the best thing we can do is keep these shoes out of the landfill for sure. And part of that I know is you're using that infused foam, which I've seen a little bit out there. My understanding of infused foam is that what it means is that as you go throughout the day, you're going to get compression rebound, but the foam starts to compress down slightly through the course of the day. That's just going to happen on all foams. What we want is overnight, when we're not using the shoes, is to get a full recovery, so we're back to like a like new feel on the shoe and ready to go for the next morning. And the infused foam is designed to kind of do that for more compression cycles than any other foam out there. It's a pretty cool durability feature in this shoe. And Ben, can you pop the next shoe? We cut one of these in half to take a look at it, because this does have GORE-TEX booty technology into it. What I like about this photo, not only the GORE-TEX booty, but you can also see that dual density foam that Adam referenced. There's the infused foam in white, and there's a thin layer of a higher density foam underneath that in gray. Just before you get into that light base outsole, which is just a real thin layer underneath that. But those two types of foam will hold shape, give almost like a strike plate on there, but also give that aggressive rocker and squishy ride. It's a cool rig for sure. And then with the GORE-TEX in there, right, that's the booty technology you're seeing in this shoe. And I just would point out from a GORE-TEX's perspective that we strategically spec out in the factories that they not use glue across the vamp of the shoe. You can see how the booty's kind of pulled away from where the laces would be, because there's no glue in that zone. Why not use glue there? Well, glue inhibits breathability, and we want to optimize the breathability of the shoe. So no glue across the top of the foot, where we also are using Arc'teryx is using more open meshes to allow the moisture vapor to escape easier in this. And so it's a cool application. And an effective way to put GORE-TEX into some of these shoes. And this is the booty technology in this. So Aaron, I want to sneak peek out now if we can. You offered to let us look at some shoes that are not quite out yet. This is. I would love for you to introduce this category for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next category we're going to discuss is the crag. This guy is wearing a pair of the crags that are currently in season. This is the low top crag. As you can see, it has a collapsible heel, really thick Insight foam insole. So lots of cushioning, lots of comfort, nice wide toe box. And so the idea of this is it's a cragging approach shoe for when you're, out just doing some basic rock climbing, and it gives you.
And when I first saw this shoe, Aaron, I was like, cool. This can't be athlete inspired. You guys are just making something for everybody, right? A comfy shoe. But then you actually corrected me. How is this an absolute athlete inspired shoe?
Yeah, I mean, you get a shoe that's like the GORE-TEX, and this is not really a recovery shoe. After you've put on your climbing shoes and you're climbing 514 or 513 or whatever it is,
5'9".
you want something really comfortable. Yeah, 5'9", 5'10". Yeah, you want to be something really comfortable. And a lot of folks were just wearing flip-flops or slippers, and that has some problems with grip and traction and protection. And so this is a kind of a slipper that allows you the best of both worlds. It gives you really good traction thanks to that mega grip. You can go and approach, and you can hike down. You could, climb up Asterisk Pass up on Smith Rock. But when you're just sitting around climbing or belaying, it gives you a really comfortable shoe for recovery in between your burns.
Right. So even for like the most dedicated crag climber, sport climber, right? This is really good. This is the approach shoe that they asked for, right? It's not the GORE-TEX. It's not a running shoe.
100%. And it's like, most of those approach shoes are overbuilt for when you're just like walking down a hill. For me, there's a lot of hard climbing in the Columbia Gorge. Approach is very short. You might climb up and down a hill, but then you're going to be sitting at the base of a climb for a long time and then in and out of your rock climbing shoes. So having something more comfortable that allows your feet to just like really be cushed out, that's directly from our athlete team. So
let's hear from Ian and Kat. I think you've got a video for them on the
next. And this is teasing the newest version of the crag.
The crag came out in spring 24, and it is an absolute favorite. If you're standing on this, you have a much better chance of resting your feet. Adam, tell me how we came about this crag shoe and eventually the insulated version.
Yeah, so like all Arc'teryx products, it came from Athlete Insights. And so they wanted something that had really good underfoot protection, but then also, would allow their foot to recover between burns. As with all of our shoes, we work with Vibram, and Mega Grip is just a super sticky rubber. And also the lug patterns, it digs well into dirt, but then it's really optimized for climbing up over rock, especially here, a lot of granite. And so you need to have really good grip on the terrain as you're approaching the crags. You don't want to be blowing your ankle into the basement before you even get there. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about the insulation and maybe the construction about how you get it on and off.
These are like super easy to get on and off. Like the traditional crag, you have a drop heel. You don't have a drop heel the same way with the booty version, but you're also not going to be wearing it the same way. You're probably going to be putting socks on between burns. So that's why we opened up this rear entry to allow your foot to slide in more easily. And then, the upper material, it is athlete tested. It's super, super burly. You're going to be going through really rugged terrain. So you need to have this durable ripstop outer protect the material, and then it's got PrimaLoft insulation. End of the season, end of the summer, temps get a little bit colder, it gets a little bit better for hard climbing. Your feet will get really cold as you're standing there belaying, and so you need to offer that level of protection as well. Can you allow your foot to stay warm? One thing that we were seeing is people belaying in flip-flops. We were getting like sucked up into the wall, potentially breaking their toes. So that's where this built-up TPU on the outer rand comes in. So it is like the little nirvana, the little zone of safety around your foot for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. So once you're there, you're climbing, you're resting, you're working with a partner, but you're recovering on this. Tell me a little bit about like what makes the recovery and the comfort so key with this piece of the crag shoe.
This is a drop-in midsole. So if you take this out of the shoe, you can actually roll the shoe up into a ball. So this gives the shoe all of its structure, but it's also just super, super squishy. One, it feels really good underfoot, but you can stand on it for hours as well. It's made for climbers, works really well for after runs, after skiing as well.
Okay, so tell our viewers what they need to know about the crag.
So protection, we all worry about safety on the wall, but approaching the crag can also be kind of dangerous. Comfort enables performance. And then ride, we've also got like really nice stability, and then ride also means easy on, easy off.
Thank you so much.
Totally.
Yeah, Craig, I know you got to get these shoes, right? I see your comment there in the chat. These are cool, right? And Aaron, these actually have some pretty special insulation in them, right? As the winter version of the Craig shoe, this is now the low is non-insulated. This is the insulated version, right? What
Yeah, this is the
you guys
Atom
have only the
hoodie.
best.
This is the Atom hoodie of footwear.
Okay.
So yeah, it's using a Primaloft gold insulation on the sides. And then it has that knit collar, that stretch knit. So it's got that four-way stretch up on top. It's more breathable, offers that sock-like fit. And then that ripstop upper paired with that Primaloft Gold is going to give you the added warmth, the added durability. You get that 360-degree sidewall and that molded toe cap. So you've got plenty of protection if you're kind of doing some scrambling or get thrown up into a wall like Adam had mentioned. Vibram Mega Grip. And then on the bottom of the shoe, we actually use a pretty innovative material called aerogel. And aerogel was originally developed by NASA. And it provides that temperature barrier from the bottom. And so in my research, I've undug that this is the lightest solid material on Earth. It's comprised of 95% air. And so this is embedded into that Primaloft fiber, and it gives you that extra protection on cold surfaces. So yeah, it's kind of like a cozy cushion, protective, block for your foot.
All right. I mean, you look at this thing, you're like, oh, it's an UGG, but it's not. It is a athlete inspired, like technical piece. Now, does
Yeah,
that mean we can wear it to work while we're working? Absolutely, right? I mean, I can wear this
yeah. I
thing town.
jokingly call it the UGG-Terex.
Yeah, there you go.
But
Whole new category for you.
yeah, but that insulated version, like it comes again, like you'd think like, oh, there's no application for that. But for our elite climbers, when you're talking about when they're climbing their hardest, that's oftentimes in winter. We call it sending temps out at Smith Rock when it is just bone cold, or January climbing out at Trout Creek off of the Deschutes. Like that's when the friction is the best. And that's when you're not going to be sliming on the wall. It's going to be easier to try hard. And so when you're sitting around belaying in those temperatures, like it can get awfully cold. So to have a warm footbed and a warm shoe to relax in and a nice warm jacket, like as a belay parka, that can make all the difference when you're really pushing the limits and you're really trying hard. And again, like when it's sending temps, like this is the kind of shoe that you'd want for that.
It's really fun, Aaron, to see these products that are inspired by athletes, right? Good for us normies as well, and and really kind of see where Arc'teryx is headed right now that our Portland Design Center is starting to bring products to life. I can only imagine what the future looks like, right? And we're just getting a glimpse into really the future of footwear. And I think these niche pinnacle products that also work for the rest of us is kind of a cool way to do this. And I know Arc'teryx has been doing this all along. Premium components, GORE-TEX included, right? But as well as like wherever you can source it, wherever you can optimize or maximize. Seems like Arc is doing that. No holds barred here.
Yeah, we're trying to find like this little spot where we can carve out of like a very saturated market. And for us, it's going to be like the most technical, the most like athlete forward. And we're always partnering up with material suppliers like GORE-TEX or like Vibram, like Primaloft to make sure that the shoe is comprised of the best possible materials before we get going, and we design a shoe that's so that it's built to last and it's something that everybody can, we can throw a bird on it and everybody trusts it.
It's really cool to see and very inspiring, and coming from the athletes to your design center and then for us to be able to use it it makes me want to get out there and play around in the outdoors even more. So those four shoes today that we talked about, the Vertex Alpine, we talked about the Kopec mid and low with GORE-TEX. We talked about the Cylon, which is that fast running shoe, and then getting into the Craig franchise with the new Craig insulated coming out any day now. You all saw it here first. So fun to be able to talk about that and release that and get it out there.